Okay, real talk. If your layout looks like some kid glued shapes to a page, don't freak out. Today we're talking about layout mistakes and tips that you could actually apply to your design work. The stuff that doesn't get taught in school. And honestly, these tips will make your designs look like a pro did them. Hi guys, it's Candice, your design bestie. We already talked about type and color, and now it's layout's turn. And I'm not talking about the basic, like, align boxes stuff. I am talking about the secret sauce that makes your design work feel intentional. Grab a snack, and we are about to dive into layouts that sell. Layouts that communicate. Layouts that make people go, whoa, this is nice. Let's start with grids. Everyone knows that grids are important, but here's the real advice. Don't just follow them blindly. Grids give structure, but breaking them strategically, it will make your layout feel more dynamic. For example, in magazine spreads, a single element breaking the column, it creates a focal point. On a poster, a diagonal element across the grid, it creates energy. On a web page, asymmetry could create hierarchy without shouting. But the rule of thumb here is always know your grid before you break it. That way your design looks intentional, not confused. And yes, I'll admit it. Sometimes I'll sketch a grid in pencil and then go, okay, how much chaos can I bring to it? It's fun, it's scary, and sometimes it works. Okay, now here's the real world secret that no one teaches you in school. Not all elements are created equal. Big images, they carry weight. Bold headlines are very heavy. The tiny icons, now they're much lighter. Balance isn't just symmetry. It is about how the visual weights interact. I have 3 tips for you here. You can group your smaller elements together to balance out the big one. Use asymmetry to add energy. And don't forget negative space. But we'll approach it differently here. Think about space as part of the weight equation. It's not just breathing room. Sometimes I look at a layout and I go like, okay, it's like a seesaw. Everything on one side, chaos on the other. That is when you tweak the weight until it feels right. It's that whole designer sixth sense thing. Layout is storytelling. You are not just putting elements on a page. You are guiding someone's attention. Some tips that I have for you to guide the viewer's eye is use visual anchors. What do I mean by that? Use something bold or with high contrast to draw the eye to that point first. Use repetition to create rhythm. Repeat your shapes, your lines, your textures. It helps to subconsciously keep the eye moving. And tip number 3, lead with alignment. A subtle diagonal or column can gently nudge the eye through the page. Pro tip, step back and ask yourself, if my client looked at this for 3 seconds, what would they say first? And then what would be second? What would be third? That is how hierarchy becomes felt rather than seen. Okay, this is really weird of me, but sometimes I imagine like a cartoon eyeball just scanning across the page. Don't judge me, okay? It works for me. Or do. I don't really care. Okay, and this is the trick that I wish I learned earlier on. Layering elements is the #1 way to add depth and hierarchy. Overlap text on images carefully. Use shadows or subtle transparency to create separation. And always play with scale to show importance. Layering elements keeps it visually interesting, and it prevents flat, boring layouts, which, let's be honest, that's like 90% of design school layouts. Okay, now no one's perfect, so let's talk about mistakes that you will actually make on client projects. Centering everything out of fear. Symmetry feels safe, but it's not very effective. Mistake number 2, floating elements with no connection. Every element should have a neighbor, a friend, something to balance it out. Mistake number 3, ignoring subtle cues. Arrows, lines, shape. These things guide the eye more than bold headlines do. Mistake number 4, overcomplicating grids. Multiple alignments make the layout feel messy. Keep it simple. And mistake number 5, scaling without purpose. Don't just make things bigger because the client asks for it or because you feel like it. Size, it should communicate importance. Honestly, a lot of my earlier projects that failed, It is because I treated the project more like a blank canvas, not a map. Now I think in maps. And what do I mean by that? I mean, everything has a route. Okay, guys, that's it. That's my layout advice. It's what the pros use, but they never hand out in school. Grids that flex visual weight, guiding the eye, layering, and the mistakes that you definitely want to avoid. If this helped, comment below what's your biggest layout struggle. And just maybe we'll tackle it in the next video. And trust me, your future self will thank you for thinking about layouts like this, instead of just like slapping everything on a page. Okay, guys, if you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more videos just like this because I make them every week. And that's all I have for you right now. I'll see you next time. Bye.